Hello and welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for you. Oh my goodness. So, yeah. How much money are you willing to be? Now, I know that sounds really bizarre, especially if you're not familiar with access consciousness, but really what that is it's the energy of us being the infinite being we truly be. So we're taught to separate. We're taught to separate from other people. We're taught to separate from energies, emotions, money, all the things. And ultimately, we are infinite beings that be oneness, which means we be money. We be sunshine, we be rain, we be everything. And when we separate from something or from someone, then we put up basically a barrier between us and them. And in this case, us and money. So when we don't be the infinite being we truly be the money we truly be, then it makes it very difficult to actualize it because we've separated from it. We've put something between us and it, and that creates a delay. Yeah. So what else is possible that we've never even considered? And this is inspired from the beautiful book that you guys know I talk about fairly often, The Advanced How to Become Money Workbook by Gary Douglas. I'm in the process of a 9-week intensive right now with it. And one of the questions that really, there was just something in it for me. And I've actually done this. We did a 9-month program last year on the book. So this is not a new question to me. And it sure, there was something. So it has inspired so much. And the question is this. Let me just read it to make sure I get it right. What's the greatest amount of money you are willing to be? Yeah. So here's the thing. You might have thought, well, 50 billion trillion godzillion dollars, Glenyce. And maybe that's true for you, but ultimately the amount of money you're willing to be is the amount of money you're actualizing. So if the amount you're bringing in a year is 50,000 or 100,000 or 500 million or that big number I said before, then that's how much money you're willing to be. Now, the really cool thing is that's not now where you're supposed to judge yourself and say, oh my gosh, I'm only willing to be whatever that amount is. Nuh-uh. This is where you can look and go, okay, so is that enough for me? Is that enough? So look at what you make, whatever you want to do, monthly or yearly or whatever. And so truth, is that actually enough for you? Whew. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, fun, fuck, shorts, boys, and beyond. So anybody who's not familiar, that is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And it basically, whatever stuff comes up when we talk about different things, when we run that, it clears it. Yeah. So it just makes all those energies go away. How does it get any better than that? So how much money are you willing to be? Now here's the thing. You might think, well, Glenyce, I have the money that I require and it's enough, and how greedy of me would it be to ask for more? And there's people on the planet who don't have enough, and I have enough, and I should be happy with what I have. And all of that can be there totally, absolutely. You can have that. But you also want to look at, what am I really asking? What's Gary really asking with this question in the book? Not sure? Let me reword it for you. What's the greatest amount of you're willing to be? Yeah. So here's the thing. In Access Consciousness, we talk about money a lot. We talk about sex a lot. And those are not because those things are more significant or relevant than anything else, because they are not. The reason we talk about those things is because it's what people will hear, when really what we're inviting you to is to be more of you and to get out of the judgments. So when we talk about money, it's the energy of receiving. But if we talked about receiving, a lot of people couldn't hear it, they couldn't understand it, it wouldn't make sense to them. But when we put it into the discussion of money, that's where it's much more relatable. And and it's also that too, because truly, the more you're willing to receive, the more your income will go up, the more money you will have. So it's part of it all. And we're oneness. We're oneness, which means we're money too. So if we make money wrong, guess what? We're making us wrong. Yeah. So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it all, return to sender with consciousness? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Because truly, what else might be possible if you were willing to receive everything you be? If you stopped making anything right, you stopped making anything wrong, you stopped making anything good, you stopped making anything bad, what if you were willing to be the allowance of you? So anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah. So, what's the greatest amount of money you can willingly be? Now, if you don't like that number, if that isn't enough for you, what then? How do you change that? Well, I happen to have some tools. How does it get any better? Yeah, so one of the things that I would look at with that is, like, who are you being? When you're not willing to be more money, who are you being? Did you grow up in a family where money was made really, really wrong? Or maybe it was never made wrong, but it was maybe never talked about. So there was no discussion about money whatsoever, which often has like a hiding energy to it, or a secret energy to it, which creates separation, or teaches us to separate from it. It could be that, maybe you've been with your spouse for a long time and they have decided that money is evil or whatever it is. But if we look at who we're being, if there is an energy there for you, then all you need to do is clear it. Everything that is, everywhere I'm mimicking that person or those people, because of course it can be just society in general, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyond, so that you actually can choose what works for you. You can choose what works for you. Oh my gosh, what a concept, hey? And really, I mean, at least for me, it wasn't like I grew up thinking that I had to think the way everybody else did. It was just what everybody did. And I personally never felt that I fit anywhere, like ever. So I really looked around me at people and kind of went, okay, oh, that's how you do that here? Okay, good, I'll do that. Oh, that's how you act when somebody hurts your feelings? Okay, I'll do that. Like, it sounds so ridiculous to some of you, I'm sure. Some of you, I'm sure it sounds like you know what I'm talking about. But that's how I created my life back then, is by watching others. So the same thing, I took on people's points of views about money, their hatred of it, their love of it, their greed of it, their need of it, like all of it. I took it all on and kind of mushed it together and thought that was me, thought that that was my reality with money. And turns out it's not. So really, if we start clearing who we're being with regards to the amount of money we're willing to be, then we start having access to way more choice. Way more choice. All of a sudden, there'll be way more possibilities showing up, because you don't have to limit how much money you're willing to be. So you might have really cool ideas pop up of different revenue streams that maybe you've never even thought of before. Yeah. And this painting behind me is a great example. I painted this and last summer, I believe, summer of 2020. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, I apologize, but it's a beautiful painting. I freaking love it. And I started getting, I think for this one, I got 6 messages after I was posting about it on social media of people who wanted to buy it. Now, I only have one, and I love it so much that I wasn't willing to let it go. And so in my conversation with one of the gals who had asked to buy it, I expressed that, and she said, well, could you find a place that could replicate it on a canvas? Which then invited me to start looking around, which then I found this really cool online store place type thing where I put my stuff in and they do all the rest. How does it get any better? So if you're watching this and you would like to purchase that, you can go to that store. We'll have a link here for those of you watching the video. If you're not, you're listening or whatever, you don't have the link, just message me. I'm happy to get you the link to my store. So I've put a bunch of my sayings on cups. Maybe some aren't even my sayings, but inappropriate and funny in my world. You have to be pretty inappropriate to get my sense of humor. But that was a revenue stream that wasn't even in my world. Now, people had been asking for some time for me to create cups and different products and such for them to have some of my sayings on them. And everywhere I had looked up to then was really hard. Like I would have to get them printed and then I would have to store them and then I would have to ship them. Like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted just thinking about what I'd had to do. And so it was just kind of like none of that felt yummy until this store and all of those pieces. So truly, how does it get any better than that? And that to me is the magic. So did I still require to take action? Of course. I had to go and find out. In fact, even getting this on a canvas, I had to go into one of my painting Facebook groups and say, guys, how do I do this? Because I was trying to take a picture with my phone, then I save it as a JPEG and then put it on a canvas. Yeah, FYI, don't do that. That's not gonna work. So hubby had to take it into the city and get it scanned professionally with some sort of fancy thingamajigger. Anyway, all the things, I don't need to go into it, but so there's still action to be taken. And to me, it is still truly #as if by magic to have a revenue stream just show up that matches what I was asking for. Because ease and joy and glory, those are the asks of all asks in my world. And of course I have about 1 billion more asks, but those are when I'm looking at creating something or doing something or having something or actualizing something, ease and joy and glory to me are such a big part of that. Now, believe me, there was a time that I would not have even crossed my mind to ask for those things or choose those things. Yeah, so once you clear who you're being, if that reads, that's not going to read for everybody. So if that doesn't read, you could look at my #1 favorite question that I know a lot of people just want to bonk me on the head when I ask it, but still I ask it. Mostly because I'm on Zoom with people nowadays, so what's the matter? They won't bonk me, but anyway. Truth, what is the value of only willing to be that amount of money? Now, if you haven't heard me ask that before, then you're probably not going to want to bonk me on the head. You're just going to probably say, well, there is no value. And this is the part where I say, yeah, there is. How do I know? Because you're choosing it. So this is where we have to start being really vulnerable with us, really honest with us, where we really take 2 minutes, don't look at your phone, nothing, 2 minutes and just ask, truth, what is the value of only being willing to be that much money? Now, there's so many things that come up. There's not a right or a wrong answer, guys, just whatever pops for you. But it might be that you fit in. It might be that you're not too much different. It might be that, I don't know, you might even get an energy that you were killed in another lifetime for being more than that or something. I mean, it doesn't matter what comes up. Ultimately, allow the awareness to come and then clear it. And of course, I use the clearing statement from Access Consciousness. You can use whatever works for you, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And you can go to theclearingstatement.com for more information about how that works. So yeah. So who am I being? And you can clear that and still ask, truth, what's the value? Those questions can still be used, together. And once you get the value, clear that. Now you might have more. So you might want to ask that question a couple times a day for a week or something and just see until you get to where you're choosing greater than you have before. Yeah. Everything that just brought up, will you destroy it and create it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. The other thing, and I kind of talked about this earlier, but to be aware of is, what are those judgments that you have about money? Like, is it greedy? Is it wrong? Is it mean? Is it like, what are the judgments? If you actually had more money, if you actually were willing to be double the amount of money you've been willing to be, what does that mean about you? Because those two you want to clear. Because those, no matter what else you clear, if you don't clear your judgments around money, you're never going to actualize it. And if you do actualize it, you'll get rid of it right away. You'll have a big bill come in or something like that. Yeah, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah. Now, sometimes people talk about having this, they don't want to have more money, or they're not willing to be more money because their family would be mad, or their parents or their siblings. And of course, that can absolutely be true. But here's the thing. Unless those people have your bank account information, they don't have to know. So anywhere that you've bought or sold that you have to tell people what you make, or if someone asks you what you make, you have to tell them, or because they're your family, you have to tell them, or because they tell you, you have to tell, like whatever all of that crazy is, we destroy and uncreate it all, return to sender with consciousness. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Because guys, that's not true. You can if it creates more for you, and that's totally fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but what you want to be aware of is if you're limiting you because people will know what you bring in, don't tell them anymore. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyond. Now, maybe you're married and you share an account, and that's different. And then you want to look at, okay, well, what works for you? If you're willing to outcreate yourself financially, and you know that your spouse would put a stop to it, it would make them really uncomfortable, then maybe it's time for you to get a separate account where you put in the extra. So whatever you're used to putting into the joint account, you still put that in, but anything above that goes into your personal account so that you can continue to outcreate yourself until you can get to that point where it doesn't matter. So often when we're changing points of views, or we're changing the way we've been in the past, for me, I shouldn't say this for everybody, but for me personally, this is where I can really trip myself up because of the energy of, it's like finding a new muscle. And so I'm still much stronger with the way it was. So in order to build up that muscle so that I can be strong in the way I would like to be strong, then I do whatever I require for that. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully it does. So, if you require to have your own account to build up, your strength at having more money than your spouse is willing to receive, then do that. And I don't mean you have to do it secretively or that you need to lie to them or any of that. I mean, find the way that works for you in a way that honors you and your relationship and the other person. But really look at that for you, because if you're saying I can't because of them, then you're setting yourself up to kill the relationship anyway, because all of that resentment and that upset and that separation and that anger and you made me and rah, 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 like that's not going to create what you would like anyway. So find the way that works and is going to create greater for you in whatever way. And if you know right off the bat, hey, you know what, screw that. I don't like, whatever their limitation is, they can have that. I'm going to create no matter what. Then you don't have to have the separate account. You know, you just need to find and be honest with you about what works. And then start asking, what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can me and my body be to be willing to be whatever that number is for you, whatever would be fun for you. So if you're normally bringing in 100,000 a year, maybe ask for 150,000 or to be 200,000 or something. The thing that I do suggest, now follow what you know for you, but the thing I always suggest with money is if your yearly income is around 100,000, jumping to 1 million or 2 million or 50 million probably isn't going to create the change you would like. And I don't mean jumping there like actually jumping there, but I mean starting to ask for, $1 million a year from 100,000. It is possible. Of course it's possible. We all know people who have done it and who do it. And a lot of times when we're asking, what you want to be bringing up is the points of views and the limitations. So if you actually just start with 150,000, you'll probably bring up more of an energy to clear than if you go to 1 million. Now, try it out for yourself, see which feels yummier. But a lot of times the big numbers that we're not even close to receiving feel really expansive, but it's only because we have no actually connection to them whatsoever. So find what works for you. But I always encourage people to go from 100, if it's one, like increase by 50%. So if it's 100,000, then start asking for 150,000 and then clear, and then, go up as you can. That's just my suggestion. But again, do what works for you, do what feels right for you, and go into that creation question all the time. So every time you go to the bank account or every time you do something and you would maybe go down that rabbit hole of this isn't enough and I can't do it and all of that, stop and put that energy into creating what you would like, which is so simple. What energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can me and my body be to be the whatever amount of money a year, a month, however you're asking, that we truly be. Anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic, I destroy and uncreate it all, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, 𝐸𝐸𝐸, shorts, boys, beyond. So turning all of that energy into then creating and asking for what you would like so that you can then be more money than you've ever been before. Anything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate it all, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, 𝐸𝐸𝐸, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, the other thing that this inspired, this question and all of that inspired, is a call that I'm going to do that I would love to invite you to, and it is called Breaking Through the Glass Ceiling. Yes, so a lot of times when we are only kind of willing to create the same amount of money each month or each year, it's often got this energy of glass ceiling, like there's a ceiling, it's glass, and it's time to break through it. Yeah, so it's a one-off call and you'll find the link somewhere. If not, message me and I'm happy to get it to you. And I would love for you to join us, because really, what would it be like if there was absolutely no glass ceilings or cement ceilings or wood ceilings or any ceilings whatsoever on your finances? Yeah, what if you were willing to be more and more money each month consistently for all eternity with total ease and joy and glory? Anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic, well, you destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, 𝐸𝐸𝐸, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah. And how much would that be for you? How much would you like to be? How much would really light up your life. Not that you have to base it on reasons and justifications. You don't have to go through and say, well, I'd really like to do this and do this and do this, so I could probably have this amount. No, what would be fun for you? 100,000 a year? 500,000 a year? $1 million a year? 2 million a year? 50 million a year? 500 million a year? 500 billion a year? I mean, how much would be fun for you? What else would be possible if you were willing to be all of you that you truly be? Anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, POD POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yes, awesome. Have a great week, sweet friends, and I look forward to chatting with you again next week.